Hey, how is everybody? Al here, and welcome to Dark Side Movie Reviews. A special welcome, as always, if you are a guest here. We love guests, and the whole idea really for you as a guest is to have such a great experience here that you hit that subscribe button, you join the community, and we get into movies and TV shows together. So at the end of the day, that's what I hope happens with you. And again, welcome and thank you for checking the channel out. Now, if you are not new here, or if you are a fan of Into the Badlands and you haven't subscribed, then I don't know what you're waiting for. If I could take your hand and press the button, I would do it, because one of the goals of this channel, in case you didn't know, is to really cover this show heavily. So we're really trying to build community around Into the Badlands on this platform on YouTube. This is one of my favorite ways to talk about this show, through video. So if you like Into the Badlands, please consider subscribing and join the community so that we can get into this show. So we are talking Into the Badlands today. We are going to cover episode 8 and a little bit of episode 7. You guys know that I've been MIA for a little bit, so I do want to kind of tell you what's been going on. It's probably no secret if you've seen the last couple of videos that you know that I'm getting married soon. So now I'm 2 weeks away and everything has just been all wedding prep. So I've had a really difficult time getting in front of the camera. But I'm here today and I'm actually stealing some time away from my to-do list to make this video. So I got to kind of make it short. So we're going to talk about Into the Badlands today. We're going to talk about a little bit of episode 7 because I wasn't able to talk about that. And then we'll talk about episode 8. I'm going to give you some predictions that I think is going to happen in episode 9 and for the rest of the season. So make sure you stay to the end of the video so that you can check those things out. So let's get into episode 7. Now, episode 7 was a good episode, man, and there were a lot of important things that happened in episode 7, but I'm not going to cover it in great detail because I want to spend most of our time on episode 8. But episode 7 gives us some information that, listen, a lot of you guys have been asking for. A lot of people have said they want to know a little bit more of Sonny's backstory. So Episode 7, I'm sorry, gives us that. With the River King, he returns to the show, albeit for a short while, but he does, and he's important because he sets up what's to come in episode 8, and he also opens the door to give us a little bit of Sonny's backstory. So we do find out a little bit about what happened with Sonny. We do know now that Sonny does come from a place called Azura. We do know now that Sonny was on that boat. The scene we see earlier, during some of the earlier seasons of Into the Badlands, where we see that great massacre happening on the boat, we do know that Sonny was on that boat as well. Not MK's massacre, the different one, but Sonny was a part of a massacre that was happening on that boat as well. We also find out that Sonny has a sister, which is really interesting because as soon as I heard it, I was like, man, who could that be? And I've got some theories about that, and I'm going to talk about that in a little bit as well. So we find out that Sonny has a sister. We also know now that Nyx is really kind of on the bubble, because at this point Nyx knows that it was Pilgrim that killed Castor, because she was the one that prepared the body. And all along right now, Nyx has kind of been getting the message that Pilgrim is not completely to be trusted. She's heard something like that from Castor, so now she's kind of starting to doubt a lot, really, what Pilgrim's whole ideology stands for. And I have her flipping. I've said before, I have her either going Team Widow or Team somebody, but I do not see her staying in step with the whole ideology of what it is that what it is that Pilgrim is actually doing. Actually, I have a big prediction that I think is going to happen towards the end of this season. I want to share that with you guys as well and see what you think about it, because it's really kind of wild. But so we see her kind of really beginning to flip a little bit. We have Gaius and the Widow who get captured by Ren. You guys remember Ren, the girl who got shot during the siege point with the bowman, and her legs gets cut off. So she's back, and she pretty much takes captive the Widow and Gaius and tries to force them to sign an armistice to stop the war. Well, that whole thing doesn't fly. It fails. So it fails. Ren ends up getting killed because the Widow told her, listen, the penalty for treason is death. So she keeps her word. She ends up killing Ren. But that scene was kind of touching, right? Because Ren says, listen, if you keep your promise, I'm happy. And you can see the Widow was thinking about that. And now I truly do think that that's what she wants. She really does want a different Badlands. She really does want a Badlands free of the captivity of cogs and that whole idea. She wants to dismiss that. So I believe that before. If you guys remember, I said I'm not too sure if I trust her, but at this point I definitely do, and I do think that that is something that she wants. So we see the love connection between her and Gaius build a little bit, and that connection between Lydia and Moon build a little bit as well. So this episode was a really good episode because it establishes a lot of different things. Also, this episode it doesn't give us a lot, but it gives us a little bit more information about Cressida. Not a lot, I know, you guys. She's still very much a mystery, and I agree with you guys because you guys have commented that you'd like to see a lot more of her backstory, and I really would. I'd like to see how she even got connected with Azura, and what is her bigger role in this whole scenario, and what are her ultimate abilities. I feel like we don't really know enough about her. She's very much a mystery, and I would love to know more about her, and I have a feeling as the rest of this season unrolls that we will learn more about her, so I can't wait to check that out as well. Now, let's get into episode 8. So episode 8 brings us a lot of things we've been waiting for. I mean, we know that MK has been dying to get at Sunny, and in episode 8 that happens, and they have an amazing fight scene. That fight, man, I mean, just how good is the fight choreography in this show? So they have an amazing fight scene. Some people ask me, well, would I change my top 5 fight scenes now that I've seen that fight scene between Sunny and MK? And no, my top 5 fight scenes for season 3 actually still holds as is, even though that was a really, really good fight scene. Episode 8, you guys, brings us the return of the Master. Now, I have been waiting for her to come back. I thought that we might see her a lot earlier because I thought there might be a conflict between her and Pilgrim, in which case I thought actually Pilgrim would likely take her out. But we do see her, and now we know that she is aware of what's going on between Sunny and Pilgrim. She's kind of awakened by their meeting. So she wakes up and she says it has begun, or it's beginning, or something like that. Then we don't see her till later on in the show, but it was good to see her introduced again into the story, and I just love that because of the abilities that she has. So I'm glad that they have her back in the narrative, and hopefully we get to see her interaction for a couple of different episodes just to see how she mixes with all that's going on in the story with the Badlands, and to see her use some more of her abilities. So that was interesting to see as well. We do also have this master plan, right? So here's the deal. They are planning to attack Baron Chow, but it's all a ruse, right? They're planning to have this grand attack on the front of Baron Chow's compound, but the whole idea is to draw all of her troops to the front of the compound, while 3 people, Gaius, Tilda, and the Widow, sneak in the back and kind of execute her. So they're hoping to catch her off guard. So we do have this grand love connection, if you will, with Gaius and the Widow, which I'm kind of happy about, right? Like, I like to see those two together. I do not see this lasting. I do not see this lasting, a relationship between those two. Now, one or two things are going to happen here. This is a prediction. I'm going to tell you about this earlier, or now rather. I think that one Gaius is going to get killed. That's one. But a greater prediction I have is that I don't completely trust Gaius. I think Gaius has another game up his sleeve, and I would not at all be surprised if Gaius's idea is to take out his sister. I wouldn't be surprised if their mother prompted Gaius to take out his sister and he assumes the barony. I do not completely trust that guy, especially now that his sister has kind of told the Widow that you can't trust him. This dude is a smooth talker. Like every other day he has some girl that he was promising the moon, and you're no different. I don't trust the brother. So we'll see what happens with that as well. So they sneak in to the back, and the whole idea is to take them out. Now, I want to leave that and come back to that in a second, because I want to jump to the battle that's happening at the front of Baron Chow's compound. Now, this is a really interesting battle, right? Because their whole idea is to hold the line, to draw all of the attention to the front. And this is the first time that we actually really get to see Moon in just kind of like epic battle, I mean like epic battle on horseback, the whole 9 yards. So he rushes into battle, and he's doing his thing, but he does get hurt in the process. And at one point it looks like the brother's about to kick the bucket, like bite the dust. Man, let me tell you something. I almost had a heart attack when I saw that. I was like, what? Couldn't believe it. I was like, nah, we just got him back. It's only been 8 episodes. We just got the brother back. You can't go out like that. So I'm not sure what's going to happen there. I think he's actually about to get the head just lopped off. Lydia comes in at the last moment, saves him, shoots the guy with an arrow, scoops him up on a horse, and then they ride off into the sunset, and we're like, yeah, boy. I was really happy to see that, man. She came in like a boss and picked up her boy, and then they rode out. But then we find out, right, that Lydia was actually injured probably in her pursuit to go help him. She's been shot by what looks like an arrow. So this scene is kind of interesting, right? Because she's literally going down and Moon is holding her in his arms, and she says, Nathaniel, don't let me die. I don't want to die here. So she sees all of these different possibilities for the future, but I still do not trust Lydia 100%. I still think there is a part of her that's power hungry, and I'm not sure how much she believes in the widow's vision. I still don't trust her completely, but that scene was kind of touching, and it'll be interesting to see what happens there. Let me tell you, from both standpoints, from Lydia's standpoint, Lydia and Moon, or Gaius and the widow, I do not see how a loving relationship can last in this storyline. Can't happen. I'm not sure how it's going to fall apart, but I think in some way, shape, form, or fashion, it will fall apart. So let's jump back into Baron Chow's compound. They sneak in, they try and ambush her. It doesn't quite work. Baron Chow is ready for them, and that's another reason why I'm not sure that Gaius is not even communicating with her somehow, some way. Something's up with the dude. I like you, Lewis, but something's up with you. So anyway, they sneak in, try to ambush her. It doesn't work. There's a great fight scene between the widow and Baron Chow, but eventually Baron Chow leads the widow into this other room where there basically are archers all around her. There's no way she's getting out of that. And we've seen her deflect some stuff. We've seen her do this business and deflect the arrows. Not all those arrows. They had them all on the bottom, all around, on the top, and everywhere. She's getting lit up. And then, boom, the arrows freeze. And they change direction and actually point back towards the archers, Baron Chow's archers, that are shooting them, and hit them, including Baron Chow. And then in walks the master. Boy, let me tell you what happened next. Had me like, oh, shoot. So she walks in. She looks at Minerva, or the widow, and says something to her. I can't remember what she says, but something to the effect of, it's time and we need your strength. And then boom, she gives her the 2 fingers to the forehead. We get a little finger glow, and the widow just kind of falls out. She falls out. So I think that the widow's gift is going to be restored at this point. And now let me tell you, the story is about to get just crazy. I mean, the story is about to get so exciting. Because if she gets that gift back, it's game on. And who knows what's going to happen with her? How's she going to navigate what she's trying to do? What is the job that the master has for her to do? Man, I'm telling you what. Go ahead, stop it. The story, man, this thing is so amazing. Boy, Into the Badlands is such a good show. So let's wrap up episode 8. So at the end, we see Pilgrim and Sunny are connected. They're in the Meridian Chamber, and that chamber, oh, that's what I forgot to say. And that chamber, apparently, and this is something that we all wanted to know, is the cause or the reason that the Badlands is in the state that it's in today. So whatever happened about 100 years ago happened in that chamber, and it caused the destruction of the land. So what we know from episode 8 is that apparently that chamber unleashed some type of power, the same power that's within the Dark Ones. The people who unleashed the power didn't have the ability to contain the power, and it caused the devastation on the land that we currently have in the Badlands. Now what I didn't mention earlier is that Baji has gotten wind of all of this, and he actually tries to blow up that chamber, but Sunny stops him. Sunny's tunnel vision at this point. Excuse me, you guys. Sunny's tunnel vision at this point. He's all about Henry. He's all about healing Henry. Doesn't care about himself. Other people are secondary. It's all about healing Henry. So he stops Baji, and they basically take Baji, they put him in the Meridian Chamber, and let Baji see what's going to happen. So Pilgrim and Sunny go down there. They connect. They're both touching like the pillars. And because like one is the key and the other one is the focus or something like that. That's what Pilgrim says. But basically, Sunny gives the baby to Pilgrim to heal the baby. Because prior to that, I don't know if I mentioned this or not, Pilgrim said that he can't heal the baby completely, but the two of them together can do that and so much more. And Sunny asks, well, what are you talking about? And Pilgrim says together they can actually shape the gift to their will. And Sunny's like, listen, what are you talking about, dude? And he says, I'm talking about becoming gods. I was like, oh boy. That don't sound good. So they get down to the chamber. They both put their hands on the pillar. Sunny is transferring energy into the pillar, which apparently is going through Pilgrim and goes into Henry. And Pilgrim is actually pulling the dark gift out of Henry. Now remember, you guys, Imkara said that this dark gift was super powerful in Henry. So this is not a little bit of power. This is like a mega power source in that baby. So Pilgrim seems to be absorbing that power source literally into himself. And Henry is healed. The gift is taken from him. But in return, the gift is transferred to Pilgrim. He opens his eyes and boom, he's got the black eyes. And I'm like, oh boy. Oh, sweet mercy, sweet mercy. So we're going to have to see how all that plays out. And basically, you guys, that's how episode 8 ends. And now we just have to wait until the second half of the season starts for episode 9. So let's talk about some predictions. Some of this is going to sound crazy, but just go with me. And if you have a problem with it, please leave it in the comments. Prediction number 1. Sonny's sister is either the widow or the master. I think Sonny's sister is the widow. I'm telling you, I know it sounds crazy, and you would probably think it's the master. Nope. I think Sonny's sister is the widow. Now, let me tell you my reasoning behind that. I think that because if there is a connection between Sanso and Sonny, or Sonny and Pilgrim, apparently they knew each other when they were younger, it is very plausible that the widow could also be related to Sonny somehow, some way. I don't know about their age differences. I don't know if it's about the same or not. Now, it could be the master. It could be, but my prediction is that the sister of Sonny is the widow. That would be really interesting. Very, very interesting to note. I'm watching Baji now because I think Baji has a larger role to play in what's going on here. Not sure how all this is going to work out. I'm also watching Imkara, even though we haven't seen her, because I do think that she's about to come back into this picture soon. I do think, as I said before, that Nyx will flip. She's either going to go Team Widow or Team somebody, but I don't think that she is actually going to stay on the side of Pilgrim. Now, here's my big bombshell prediction for sometime later in the season. Don't know when this is going to happen. I think that we're almost going to get like a Civil War type scenario. When I say Civil War, I mean like Captain America Civil War, the movie, where you have kind of this side over here and this side over there, and the two sides are going to clash, because I definitely see Sonny going dark Sonny at some point, in him conflicting with Pilgrim. And I think Sonny's going to have his folks that believe his ideology, and Pilgrim's going to have his folks that believe his ideology, and I think there's going to be just like a huge battle. I don't know when that's going to happen. So those are my predictions about the season 8. Listen, guys, all I can say, man, I say this every video, and I said I was going to make this thing long. I think this thing is almost 20 minutes. Ridiculous. This show is so good. And we really want to build some community around the show on this channel. So if you like this video, go ahead and share it. Please comment. I would love to know your feedback on what I thought about this video in terms of my predictions. If you think I'm way off, how you feel about it, all that good stuff. We are going to be doing some extra stuff around the show while we are waiting for season 9 or episode 9 to air. We are going to be actually covering a lot more superhero stuff as well, and some other big titles coming out in the movies also. Now we've got a little bit of break of Into the Badlands. It's going to give us some more time to focus on those things, and hopefully I will have a little bit more time after July the 7th, my marriage date, to really get into videos as well. She supports my YouTube habit, you guys. I mean, that's enough to marry her right there, right? So guys, as always, thank you so much for watching this video. Please make sure that you subscribe. My face will be popping up somewhere soon on the screen. You can click that button to subscribe. If you like it, give it a thumbs up and share it as well. Thank you, and I will see you on the next video. Peace.